Welcome to Backyard Family Fun, the podcast from Pride Pool Spas and Leisure Products. In Claxton and Savannah, Georgia, celebrating 50 years serving our community, this family-owned business has spent decades helping create memories that last a lifetime. Whether you're a pool owner, a spa lover, or just looking to turn your outdoor space into a true retreat, we've got you covered right here on the Backyard Family Fun podcast. And as a crazy awesome deal for our Backyard Family Fun podcast fans, you get 10% off anything inside either location in Claxton and Savannah, excluding pools, hot tubs, or saunas when you mention the podcast. That's all you have to do. Go and visit the Claxton or Savannah Pride pools, mention the podcast, and get 10% off. Now that's a reason to celebrate. Welcome back to Backyard Family Fun. I'm Dee Daniels, and we're at Pride Pool Spas and Leisure Products in the Claxton location, and so excited to be talking about warmer weather and all kinds of things with Marshall Smith. Marshall, good to see you again.
Thank you, Dee, for coming to be with us today and looking forward to talking about the things we're going to talk about today. So excited to have you and host you here in Claxton.
Absolutely. It's it's interesting, the weather we have. Sometimes in December we'll have those couple of 70-degree random days,
right.
and it's always sort of up and down. And I think we plan our backyard family fun accordingly to knowing that we're going to have some really nice weather days.
That's right.
And that can happen all throughout the year around here.
Southeast Georgia, it's
a mixed bag.
It is a mixed bag of weather, even throughout the season. In other words, the fall and winter are really unpredictable for sure. Obviously, our springs can be slow to start. Our summers are going to be hot. It's as simple as that, right? So we basically have spring and summer, and but we get our share, the amount of cool weather that I want. I think the season will drive people to make decisions when it comes to the backyard family fun, right? Whatever, if it's pool or spa related, knowing that if you're going to have a 75 degree day in the middle of December, hey, let's take advantage of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited. We're really going to take a deep dive into helping you get your pool ready. And it's one of those things where we have so many things to talk about around this.
Mm-hmm.
So many ways that we can help folks get their pools really ready. And when I say ready, what I'm picturing is like jump in ready.
That's right.
Like get in it, have fun ready.
That's right. Visually, a lot of times people will say, well, golly, the pool's crystal clear, it's gorgeous. And we've started having some 65, 75, maybe nipping at the 80-degree temperature marks. And people say, well, the water looks gorgeous, it's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Well, they maybe have not had their thumb on it for the last 60, 90 days. Mm-hmm. And so it can be deceiving. And so you have to prepare yourself to say, okay, the pool looks fantastic. It's still clear. Well, we've had some cold weather. And so weather drives the dynamic that the water is dealing with.
Yeah.
So temperature is everything. And so once it gets cold, nothing can grow in anything under 70 degrees. And I think we've talked about this before in the past, but I want to remind people as they're about to open their swimming pools up or spas for the season, even though it's crystal clear, you have to be conscious of, well, really hadn't done a whole lot to it for the last 90 days. What should I do? And so that's where we kind of step in and say, hey, we want to get it swimming ready, not just visually ready.
Yeah.
So, that requires a little bit of effort. It's like anything worth having requires a little effort, right? So,
right.
So we want to get people off on the right foot so that they make sure that stays visually looking good before it really gets too warm.
Yeah, you talk about looks can be deceiving sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about you go to the backyard and the pool and it looks just this looks great. It's crystal clear, like you said. But then maybe you dip your hand in there and it doesn't feel quite right.
That's right.
Because we haven't treated it in a while or maintained something
right.
for a short time. First tip that I would see in that scenario is I got to get this water tested.
That's right. Yeah, and so we're huge advocates, and I think anybody that has been a part of our group or legacy, or been wonderful customers for many years or just a year or two, understands the value that we place on water testing, water analysis, because sure and we have test strips. Consumers can take those home. They can test their water. They can test for 4 or 5 things to make sure that the foundation of their pool water is where it needs to be, and make any slight adjustments that may need to be made. But running through our analysis, it's a 13-point analysis, gives us an opportunity to digitize that and to give us a better understanding of the readings and the numbers, so that we can kind of fine tune that. So yes, water testing, the analysis being brought in to be tested is paramount, in what we feel like that helps set us apart, because we feel like the technology that BioGuard brings to the table is second to none. And so having that technology, having the wisdom that we have, helpful team members that are willing to do whatever it takes to help you enjoy your swimming pool. Yeah, and so water testing is a big part of who we are and what we do. So we're huge advocates, and we want to make sure consumers kind of embrace that, because it's that preventative MO as opposed to the corrective MO, and it's a lot cheaper that way too.
Absolutely. Now, you kind of blew my mind a little bit when you said 13-point analysis. That's a lot.
Well, it is.
And it tells you a lot, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah. And so, not to get into certain things, but, we're testing for phosphates. We're testing for, total dissolved solids. We're calcium hardness, anything, the alkalinity, the pH. There are certain things that typically you can't test with a test strip. So, yeah, it goes into other things. Iron, copper, we're testing for those things as well. So that 13-point analysis is, I think, invaluable to helping the consumer understand what their body of water looks like on a year-round basis. And so, yeah, especially if you've gone through a season of cold weather, whether we had a lot of rain or not, the dynamic is going to change
for sure,
no matter what.
Yeah.
So you want to be prepared to make sure that before it gets real warm, that you kind of got your thumb on it. And we're here to help do that.
Yeah. Before we leave that important first tip, how do I get my water tested? Great
question. And so we have water apparatuses here that we like to we give those out to our customers. Come by, we will give you a free water sample bottle with we put your name on it. We'll put the description of your pool, the characteristics of your pool, so that if you were to come by and we're not here, you can drop it off in our water sample box. We can grab it, we can test it to make it more convenient for you. So yes, so we provide those water analysis vessels, the water sample bottles, for them to take home to utilize, take the sample and bring it back to us, and we will get it tested. So yeah, we make it easy, we make it simple for making that happen.
Absolutely. Which makes a lot of sense, because, I would think the vessel that you put the water in also could change the dynamic of the water as well.
100%. So thank you for bringing that up again, because we get folks bringing things in their pickle jar.
Sure.
And that's probably not a good idea. Oh, even if you think you've cleaned it out real well. And,
sure.
And let's say that you ran it through the dishwasher and it was 150-degree water and you've sanitized it with whatever. You might have got it clean enough so that it doesn't taint the pool water, so that when we run it through our system, you're going to get a good clean analysis. So yeah, it's important that whatever you're putting it in, that you bring consistently in that same apparatus.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of like almost building, like the human body builds an immune has an immune system. Your pool has an immune system. You put the water in that same vessel each time, it's kind of, it recognizes it. And so you want to try to keep using that particular item so that you'll get a very consistent result of the water testing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Quick reminder, we're in the Claxton location. You may hear our customers come in. You may hear the Claxton train roll by. It's always a good time, no matter
That's right.
what we're doing around
That's
here.
right. Yeah.
Always
And that's
a
the
good
beauty
time.
and that's why I love the podcast and hanging out with you, Dee, when you come up, because we try to make it fun.
That's right.
And it's light. And sometimes we have some interjections we didn't know were coming. So
And I love it. I mean,
I do love it too.
we
so.
are truly here in the store, and Claxton is such a huge location. If you want to see up close, test out some of these new fantastic things, come to Claxton.
Yeah.
Either location you can do that. But I mean, it's just such a beautiful location. The retail that's available inside here is just it's a great location.
And just to touch on that, since you brought it up, absolutely, we have our above ground pool park outside. We have pools set up so you can see those, see it, touch it, get a good idea of what it really is going to look like in your backyard. So take advantage of that opportunity if you're in the market for an above ground pool. And we have easy access, and we're on Highway 280 Winter. Great location, easy access, very convenient. So, yep, thanks for bringing that up and pointing that out, that it is important that, we try to make it convenient, and location is one of those. So,
yeah, absolutely. So we're talking about tips to help you get your pool ready, and doing a real deep dive into some of these tips. The next thing that I would think kind of comes to mind is the filter. Now, there's a lot that can go sideways, I feel like, if I'm trying to clean it, or am I doing it the right way?
Sure.
Talk to us a little bit about what the process looks like there.
Well, and not to back up too much, but just remind people that obviously the foundation for quality pool care are chemicals, but just as important is the pump and filter. If you've got a good pump and a good filter, you combine that with the chemistry, you're going to have a near perfect environment to enjoy your backyard family fun. So glad we're touching on filters, because there are multiple styles of filters or types of filters that are in the marketplace. And so depending on what filter you may have and that you're using on your swimming pool, now is the time for sure that you want to address that filter, whether it's being a sand filter, cartridge filter, or a diatomaceous earth, which is short for, or DE, short for diatomaceous earth type of filtration. So either one of those three is what traditionally you'll find on an in-ground or above-ground pool. And so, now's the time that if you've not addressed that filter, now's the time to do it. You want to make sure that if this sand, if it's time to clean it, or maybe it's even time to change it. This depends on the age of the sand. The cartridge filter, if you're not cleaning that once a month or once every couple of months, now's the time to do it. And we can do that with chemical-based products that clean those products better, whether it be the sand or the cartridge filter. Diatomaceous earth as well. Typically with that, the grids need to be cleaned periodically, but it's a powder that you put in there. Not too many people in our area have a diatomaceous earth filter, but if you do, we can assist you with helping you get that filter clean and getting it up and running for the season. So yes, a clean filter is paramount for good water quality, right? So we got to have that, and highly recommend touch on that when you come in, when you bring that water analysis, mention that to one of our team members and say, hey, my sand is 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, whatever. And then we can recommend, based on the environment the pool's in, whether it's time for it to be replaced or not. If not, then we just chemically treat that sand to clean it. Yeah, so filtration is again paramount to good water quality.
You answered my next question, because I really was just thinking, what if you're in that time window where you're like, I don't know whether I need to replace it or just clean it. I mean, I feel like that can be confusing.
It can be.
Depending on the filter.
That's right. And when it comes to sand, that's actually easy, because kind of touching on the sand and how that works. Okay, so we use a number 20 silica sand that goes into all of our filter or sand filters that we use to filter our pools and spas with. That number 20 silica sand over time will break down. In other words, that sand under a microscope has jagged edges on it, and it's very minuscule. But when you take say a 300 pounds of sand and put into a traditional in-ground pool filter, as water passes through there, it breaks down the sand. As it breaks down that sand, those jagged edges start to break down. As they break down, they don't pick up the particles as good as they once did. And so it's the theory behind that is that new sand filters better than old sand. So we think the shelf life, I shouldn't use the term shelf life, the life of a good sand filtration system is about 3 years. Sometimes you can stretch it out depending on the environment the pool is in. Depends on the bather load as well. If the pool is used more so than typical or less than typical, then you may not need to change it until the 4th or 5th year. But the more the pool, it's like anything else, right, in life. The more you use it, the more maintenance it may require. And so the pool water, if it's being used more often, it may require the sand to be changed a little more often.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It's kind of like you change the oil in your car. If you, every 5,000 miles, well, guess what? I drove 3,000 miles cross country and 3,000 miles. And so within 2 weeks' time, I've drove over 5,000 miles and I had to change the oil in my car in a really short period of time because we overdrove it, you know. And so that may or may not be a good analogy, but I would tell you that it's kind of the theory is the same. The more you use something, the more you should pay attention to it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's a great analogy because it makes a lot of sense. How much water, how often do we have it moving through that filter, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
And how many people do we have in this on a regular basis? If it's just me or if I've got, 10, 15 kids and neighbors and whatnot coming every weekend.
6 and 7 and 8 year olds.
Whole different ball game with what's going on in the filter.
Absolutely. So yeah, the dynamic of that water changes dramatically depending on the bather load. So, and I would tell you that if you are a team of 2 or team of 3 or team of 4, it's one thing. But if you've got teenagers or maybe preteens in the household and they have a lot of friends, which most of them probably do because the pool is a big magnet. And so, yeah, the heavier the load, the more often you should probably clean the sand, and or it may require you to change the sand a little more often than you normally would have if without the load. Yeah.
And I'm not going to say kids are dirty, but kids are dirty.
I like how you phrase that. Yeah. But the pool helps clean them, right?
That's the theory.
That's their mindset. Hey, Mom, I just got out of the pool. I don't need to take a shower.
Yeah, that is their mindset for sure. I'm not sure how good of a mindset that is. But now, before we move away from the filter, let me ask you this too. And I know we're talking about getting your pool ready,
right.
But let's say just on the filter topic, let's say we get a new filter or we have that filter cleaned. What comes after that as far as like, when do I have to do that again? When do I have to clean again after that? Just for routine maintenance kind of mindset.
I think it becomes what we were just kind of talking about. It's kind of like the bather load kind of drives that a little bit. However, we highly recommend that you clean the sand at least twice a year. Whether it be with a degreaser of some sort. We carry the Strip Quick, which is a degreaser, which is an excellent cleaner. And it's the quickest way to clean the sand as well. The turnaround on that's pretty quick. So, yeah, I think whether you are, again, a team of 20 or a team of 2, we still like to recommend at least every 6 months or twice a year. So,
that makes sense.
Yeah, to answer that question, that's how often you should clean it. Just because a healthy filter, we're going to go to another analogy, the AC filter, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same theory. You want to have quality breathing air, breathable air. And one of the best ways to do that is to make sure your HVAC filter is new or you've changed it. Every 90 days or whatever the case is there. It's the same theory with your pool. You want to keep your filter media as clean as possible, as often as possible.
Absolutely.
So again, the foundation's twice a year. You may do it. Some people will do it once a quarter. Some people will sneak maybe only once a year in there. But either way, let's clean the sand, and now's the time to do it.
Absolutely. I think we've got time for one more tip, and we've got more. So don't worry, we'll get to the rest of them in another episode as well. But a lot of tips, and I think we have time for one more. This one I think is all of them are important, but I feel like this one it really kind of sums up kind of at the heart of things with getting your pool ready is, and again, thinking about it like a automobile or thinking about it about, the maintenance in your house. Maintenance and doing sort of this overall check. I feel like that's one of the things that you got to do before you're fully ready for jumping into the pool. Did we have any sort of damage over this time frame where we had really cold temperatures?
That's right.
Is there a leak we need to address or look at?
That's
things
correct.
like that. Is there something, that we need to fix before we invite the whole neighborhood back into the pool?
That's right. We have seen that emerge over the last 30 days more than because we've had a pretty cold winter. It seemed a little longer than normal.
That's a groundhog's fault.
Yeah,
right there.
that's right. and so we had some of those really sub-freezing temperatures, which we like to see here because we try to get rid of some of the gnats. And it helps get rid of some of the mosquitoes by having some of that colder temperatures. But yes, you want a full analysis of what you've got going on, whether it be from the water chemistry, whether it be cleaning the sand, whether it be baskets, whether it be nets, poles, brushes, all of those things. Now's the time to assess each and all of the above in making sure that, let's make sure that, again, whether we've neglected or semi-neglected the pool a little bit over the winter because we didn't swim, right? So if you didn't swim, you tend to not think of something. And if you don't think of it, you're not paying attention to it. As you mentioned, you try to get things prepared, get it ready in comparison to some of the other things in our lives that we have. Your pool's no different. So, you want to assess whether it be some of the technology, checking the seals of your pumps, making sure that, again, the sand is cleaned or clear. If you're a cartridge filter individual, you want to make sure those cartridges have been cleaned or replaced. Because back to filtration part of it, the filters are just as important when you're, we talk about sand, but we talk about the cartridge filters. Those probably highly recommend, should always clean those at least every 60 to 90 days and keep a backup set on hand at all times. And here's why. Because a cartridge filter has to be cleaned differently. You've got to let it sit and soak typically overnight, and you want to make sure that you're getting through all of the pleats, that cleaning material is getting through all of the pleats. And so you don't want any downtime, especially during the middle of the spring and summer when it's so hot. So keep that backup filter on hand, so then you rotate those filters so that you put in the new one and you let it run for 90 days. You pull it out, you clean it, you take the new one and you stick it in, and then you rotate those two filters. And so they will last much longer doing it that way, and then you never miss a beat. So from back to the filtration side of things, when we were talking about earlier, just wanted to point that out as well when it comes to cartridge filters. Keep the additional on hand so that make sure that you don't have any downtime. But we're getting ready for the springtime. We're ready to kick things off. We've got to get a full assessment of cleaning devices, your baskets around in the skimmers, pool, your pump baskets as well. Kind of like a 10-point analysis check for us so if we come out, assess the pool. I think a lot of people forget about the pool pump itself and say, oh, is there water around the bottom of that? Well, you know what happened is those freezing temperatures can make those mechanical seals in your pumps shrink or expand. If they shrink, which is typically what's happening, you may end up getting maybe some failure there, and then your pump starts leaking. You want that assessed for sure, because you don't want a $1,500 pump or motor to go prematurely bad because we got a $10 seal that went bad, right? So you want us, or you can assess it yourself, but we kind of give you the feedback of the things you should be checking, and that's one of them that's important, so that when the pool's off and running for the season, make sure you're crossing some T's, dotting some I's, And that's one thing to look for as well. Again, equipment, maintenance items, let's do a full check, a welfare check of those items to make sure that everything's healthy and ready to go for the season.
Absolutely. Gosh, so much to talk about,
There's a
Marshall.
lot to talk about.
So much to talk about. Let's continue the discussion in another episode and get to the rest of these tips. We're talking about tips to help you get your pool ready. And, by ready, jumping in, having fun, doing all that you want to do to do.
The cannonball ready.
That's it. That is it. You've got a 2026 cannonball ready to go.
That's right.
Of course, we'll continue the discussion in another episode as well for these tips. And make sure you click on the links in the show notes of this episode to get all the details on either location of Pride Pools. And we're going to get you ready for more backyard family fun. And we'll see you in another episode, Marshall.
Thank you, Dee. It's always a pleasure.
Let the celebrations continue. The team at Pride Pools is excited to give you a huge anniversary special. Actually, 3 of them. To celebrate 50 years, you can get up to $10,000 in savings on 3 anniversary fiberglass pools. There are 3 sizes to choose from: the backyard size, the family size, and the fun size. How cool is that? So stop by the Claxton or Savannah locations of Pride Pools or go to pridepools.com for more information. Thanks for listening. Come by and meet your local pool and spa experts in Claxton on Highway 280 West or in Savannah on Gateway Boulevard South, or go to pridepools.com. If you love backyard family fun as much as we do, be sure to give us a rating and review and subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. And if you have a question or topic you'd love for us to cover, drop us an email, info@pridepools.com. or tap the links for Facebook or Instagram in the show notes of this episode. We'd love to hear from you. Now let's go make a splash and have some backyard family fun.